RM's Right Place, Wrong Person oscillates between cheeky playfulness and painful confessions of inadequacy. His second solo album is a dialectical exploration of the self. It holds tension and relief in all areas of its sound and lyrical production. It creates a theatrical and trippy journey through inadequacy by using various genres that are often linked by the use of bouncy bass lines and eerie synth sounds. Namjoon loses himself to find himself by the end of this hauntingly beautiful album. So, I have a confession. I have been experiencing existential dread and alienation in all areas of the human experience. There is this gnawing thought that has not left my mind for the past year, and that is that I was not made to survive this society. I lack the skills to navigate it, and at my 29 years, almost 30, I have been unable to adapt to it, making me feel like a failure and inadequate. After Big Hit announced the title and release of the album, the roots of that thought grew larger around my head and in my neck. I identified with the title so much, but I also thought, well, the truth is, I am the right person. I'm just in the wrong place and in the wrong society. As the promotional concept photos started to roll out, the roots of that thought grew even larger, and it invaded every crevice of my brain. The photos kept enhancing the uneasiness I felt. I saw them and I identified myself with them. I kept thinking, why is Namjoon dressed as an office worker? What is he doing wearing an ill-fitting suit while sitting on a lifeguard chair? He's too tall for that swing set, and he's too small in that frame. The art direction truly elicited a sense of feeling out of place and being an outsider. I felt that my anxiety thoughts were being materialized in those concepts, and the roots of that thought grew large enough that I felt I could not get any oxygen in. I was suffocating. Seeing what I was experiencing on the art of someone else really made it feel like ugh. I'm glad to say that after its release, I spent the next 2 days studying the album, and it brought a sense of solace to my anxiety thoughts. The album took me in a journey through June's mind. I and the audience, we were led through a winding road. We went back and forth between anxiety, isolation, and community. We explored genres rarely explored by June before. Sometimes we saw him find meaning and safety in communion with friends. Other times we saw him lost while festering in anger. He finds himself by losing himself. The album is filled with contradictions of sound and themes. It is a deeply personal exploration of Kim Namjoon's mind and feelings, and I thought it was brilliant. I'd like to go through the album songs, tell you a bit of what I feel, what I heard, what I thought. I'm not an expert. I don't do music. This is just what I could hear. It could be totally wrong. I just want to share why I love this album. We begin our journey with the introductory songs Right People, Wrong Place, and Nuts. They are both reminiscent to me of progressive rock. The first track employs breathy sounds over a hypnotic bass line and a panning synth. It is a psychedelic beginning to what Namjoon will present on the album. It sets the tone, and that is experimentation, dissonance, bending of musical genres. Nuts RM explores human relationships. I feel that San John's, and I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, I feel that his involvement shines through this song. This song has a cheeky double meaning of the verses, and it is reminiscent of Balming Tiger's satirical approach to music. The lyrics are cleverly written, sometimes even funny, but at the core of them, we find heartbreak and incompatibility. As the song progresses, the initial funkiness and sarcastic lightheartedness transitions to a more aggressive sound. We hear two rifling guitars that are introduced a little later, and then suddenly the production dials back and RM's vocals shine with a darker and moodier delivery that is more reminiscent of spoken word than his usual rap. The third song, Out of Love, continues the psychedelic production of the first two songs, but it gradually introduces a jazzy saxophone to the left side of the mix. Actually, I listened to the song again, and the saxophone starts from the beginning of the song. It's only out of pitch. There is saxophone to the left side of the mix, but there are many layers of the saxophone in pitch and out of pitch throughout the song. We experience a heightened anger in RM's discursive delivery of the lyrics. It is like he is reading to us his journal, or he's voicing his internal monologue. We can see his interpersonal struggles and his public persona are clashing in a struggle of human relationships. He echoes sentiments that he has previously expressed in BTS discography, that there is a very thin line between love and hate. The album sonically transitions with Tomodachi and question mark interlude. What I wanted to highlight, Timoran uses the previous saxophone that had come in late in the mix on the previous title, and now chooses to start Tomodachi with that same saxophone front and center. It starts in a very like improvisational jazzy way, but then the tension increases and we experiencing change in emotionality, anger, and hostility through the production. The song creates a fast-paced satire of Namjoon's anger on the lyrics. He's talking about someone, a subject. It's satirical, but there's anger there. He had previously let his anger consume him. Now he allows to mock the subject of his anger by dancing to the song. Little Sims enters the song as the song switches up over the fast tempo drum. Her album, Sometimes I Might Be an Introvert, shares the same musical principles in Right Place, Wrong Person. It is experimental, funky, it has switches in the beats, and it is a deeply personal project. Her addition was perfect. It was perfect. While listening to the song, I did wonder about the decision to have her come in while there was a switch up in the drum pattern that was reminiscent of UK Garage. Little Sims even references her own UK Garage song, Gorilla. She says, I already told them that I'm a gorilla. The addition of Little Sims is perfectly crafted for this song. Question mark interlude is the transitional song that we need for the next part of the album. It releases tension that was held by the previous songs, but still maintaining the jazzy element present in Tomodachi. It is airier and it serves as a transition to other genres and other themes, and also a transition in the emotionality of RM's lyrics. The next part of the album is Growing, Heaven, and Lost. These three songs provide a hopeful optimism in which I found solace to that internal turmoil that I had previously mentioned. It is a trio of songs where RM embraces his anger, and through that he finds peace despite the constant criticism he gets. This is the part where he finds himself. In Growing, the anger that had been carried over in the previous song reaches its climax, but instead of RM brooding in resentment and letting it fester, RM takes us on a ride to find his freedom. He frees himself by verbalizing the anger that he had suppressed as the leader of BTS and as a public figure. He holds no punches on the lyrics. In the Mini Money album Exchange, RM mentioned that he named it groin because of a saying in Korean that you're speaking something with your groin. I would imagine that means what we would say in English, say it with your chest, or what I would say in Spanish, voy a hablar sin pelos en la lengua. Accompanying that change in perspective, there's a baseline, a repeating baseline that conveys the paradigm shift in RM's mentality. It is simple, it's bouncy, and it's freeing. Take my heaven, on Heaven, we find him once again taking the constant hate and criticism he has received time and time again, but this time he takes it in stride. There has been a paradigm shift in his thinking. As the lyrics mention, his detractors could take a knife at him and watch him collapse, and it would not affect his chill, shoegazy vibes. And the music expresses that. There's this constant dialectical exploration between the chill music and the deeply unsettling emotions of RM's lyrics. On this song, he no longer lets his anger fester inside. He no longer needs to mock the criticism that he received like he did in Domodachi. He has found happiness even when surrounded by devils. The song Lost starts with like a scratching of the vinyl. To me, this old school technique evoked an image of Namjoon going back in time to find his old teenage self. In the track, Namjoon throws himself into unknown environments. He leaves behind his role as a leader. He lets himself be pulled by the absurdity of the situations. He tells us that he experiences in his late 20s a foundational experience that most of us experienced in our late teens. He's going clubbing, he's losing himself in the music, and he tells us that that is the way that he found himself again. It honestly breaks my heart to think of how much responsibility Namjoon took at such a young age. For context, I was born just 5 days after him. I truly, very seriously, cannot imagine my 14-year-old self having to lead 6 other people. I cannot imagine carrying the burden of keeping a company afloat and also having to develop my own craft. It's truly, I couldn't do it at 30. So, and of course, he was able to do it because Namjoon is extraordinary. Yet, that responsibility and his own extraordinariness took away his innocence and freedom, and he needed to find himself again. The first few tracks on the album begin winding, psychedelic, dark, angry, moody, dialectical. That is him being lost by the constant anger and hate he's being put through. Here on Lost, he's finding himself in a very contradicting way by losing himself, by getting drunk, going clubbing, leaving behind the responsibility of being a leader. To me, that makes perfect sense, and it's heartbreaking at the same time. The female voice on the song sings alongside RM, offers a playful innocence that RM lost at 14. The song has a beautiful production in which, once again, meaning arises from the duality and tension between RM having lost his innocence at a very young age and finding it again 15 years later at almost 30. And I feel that the use of the female voice that sounds almost like a kid exemplifies that beautifully. I feel it's just so tender to me. And by juxtaposing his deeper voice with the higher one of the female voice, it's like he's singing with himself, with his younger self. The Lost music video poster shows June lost in a labyrinth. I was curious about the office worker imaginary. I identified with it. Being a worker makes me feel like a mindless cog in a monstrous machine. I feel lost in the role of an office worker. That has been the main reason for the existential dread that I have experienced in the past year. I feel deeply inadequate in a corporate environment. Being forced to complete menial and redundant tasks is a never-ending surreal nightmare. I studied philosophy, and I do absolutely feel strange in an environment where my only value is to make profit for others. I feel alienation from my labor and my personal values. And that resonated a whole lot. And the concept of the music video Lost perfectly encapsulated that feeling. It was there. I was seeing what was causing so much anxiety right there on the music video. Look around the world in a day sets our impact in the middle of the same criticism he has been facing over the last decade. The addition of Moses Sumney, I hope I'm saying that correctly, is once again a perfect choice for the collaboration. He delivers a delicate and dreamy vocals to the shoegazy song. After the transformative journey that Yoon has been through on the first part of the album, June of this song is a different person. All of the tension and anger that he had felt from feeling like an inadequate outsider is no longer present. He does not need to guide himself by the rigidity of others' views of what right and what is wrong. He has outgrown the seeking of external validation, and he has found peaceful contentment. Not even happiness, it is contentment. Credit roll, or like, I don't know how you say it. Is it like you? Namjoon expresses his gratitude. Despite the painful hardships that he has chosen to share with us, he is grateful to us, the audience. He put so much love and care and dedication in the album to give to us. And for that, I'm grateful to him because he didn't have to share all of that with us. Come Back to Me is like an epilogue of a narrative that June shared about his struggles with feeling loneliness and anger and feeling alienation from the world. From the beginning of the first two songs, where he is truly in a state of frenetic lostness. I don't know what else to say it. What it is lost, it is dissonant, and then he transitions that sense of feeling lost to the next few songs, like Tomodachi, an interlude where we see why he feels so lost. Part of it is that he gets this constant criticism and anger, and he cannot do anything without it being criticized. Then it transitions again. He finds a certain peace in reveling in the anger of others, like growing and heaven and lost. Finally, Come Back to Me is that epilogue, that closing, a sense of relief, a sense of calmness, the calm after the storm instead of the other way around. And the music video feels like an exercise in exploring everything that we could have become. Like Namjoon is in the music video, we sometimes find ourselves at a party that seems to not end. The usefulness of a party as a visual representation of feeling lost, I think it's perfect. A party in itself evokes a magical realism, and the spaces in the party could lead us through doors, and those doors could have been different paths that we could have taken in life. And I feel that's what the music video explores. The music video shows a different parallel versions of what Namjoon could have been. And I feel the premise of the video and the song is to ask ourselves, how do we forgive ourselves for not becoming some of the possibilities that we could have been? How do we let go of the paths that we did not take? And how do you go back to who you are today, to this universe and this timeline, after having experienced the infinite possibilities of being? In film and in phenomenology, mirrors and reflections are symbolic artifacts that often allow us to perceive what we cannot see with our own eyes. So, again, how do we go back to a place where even washing our face seems difficult? And I feel that the answer of the video and of RM's lyrics themselves is by recognizing our reflection, by unveiling that which we hide from ourselves, by being aware that who we are today is just fine, by accepting the painful experiences that have informed our lives, and by seeing the divine within ourselves. And so, through Right Place, Wrong Person, I experience a sense of belonging and communal understanding. I realize that I am not alone in feeling an existential dread derived from feeling empty in the latter part of my 20s. Namjoon and I have lived vastly different lives, and the root of our anxieties seem different. Right now, he is serving in the South Korean military, and I'm in my little Mexican home facing my own struggles. And yet, we have experienced a debilitating sense of inadequacy and feeling out of place at the same time, as has all of ARMY around the world. His deeply personal and introspective art manages to reveal the spirit of our time, which is loneliness, inadequacy, helplessness. We have all felt lost in systems and roles that are larger than us, drowned by the tension between our internal desires and our external expectations. And with Right Place, Wrong Person, Namjoon has taught me that the meaning of life can be found by losing myself, then resurfacing that which I had suppressed long ago. I am truly so proud of Namjoon for experimenting with alternative sound and showing us the rawness of his feelings. And I'm so grateful that he brought together a team of incredibly talented individuals in Team RN. Besides June's beautiful performance, I particularly enjoyed the performance of the bass and the drums, as well as the musical composition as a whole. I am grateful to him for letting himself get lost in the process. I feel so grateful to experience the creative freedom Namjoon works so tirelessly to achieve by sacrificing his own self, his own youth. For myself, I became ARMY in crazy Festa 2022. So I have only experienced this Namjoon, the one who got lost and managed to find peace within himself. And it's truly an honor to be inspired by him. It is an honor to rediscover the meaning of life alongside him. And again, I wanted to say I'm not an academic, I'm not a musician. I am just an enjoyer of music. Things that I mentioned about the music production and the composition might be totally wrong. And I'm sorry. Please enlighten me if I am wrong. I have so many things that I wanted to mention about the music videos, the songs, the lyrics that I did not explore on this essay, I guess. Maybe one day I will. But for the time being, I am so grateful for Namjoon. I am so grateful for this project and this album. I hope that he's doing good. I hope that he's happy. And I hope that we are all able to find meaning in our own lives. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. The original essay is linked down below. If you enjoy the video, please consider buying me a coffee on Coffee. And until next time, be excellent to one another. Okay, ya.